I'm Judy Finari, and welcome back to the Chronic Rift. Before I begin, I'd like to welcome Omega Zone as one of our sponsors. Hey, you can play games on a board, on a computer, and even in your mind, but have you ever tried to play games by mail? Well, tonight on our roundtable, we're going to discuss play-by-mail games. Why would anybody want to get involved in such an activity? We've got tons of people here tonight who are going to talk to you about that.
This week's Comic in Review is not really a comic in review. It's an adaptation of a comic that's not in review, but it is a TV show in review. You got all that? Anyway, it's The Flash, starring John Wesley Shipp and Amanda Pays, currently being shown on CBS. I'd considered doing an overview of comics on TV that are flowing around right now, but I don't get Arts and Entertainment to see the Swamp Thing, and I tried watching Superboy twice. It wasn't pretty. I really never expected The Flash to last this long. Even after CBS moved it so it wasn't directly opposite The Cosby Show and The Simpsons, I really didn't think it would do that well in the ratings. The series incorporates elements from the Barry Allen Flash that was done very well by Gardner Fox in the 1950s, and the Wally West Flash being done first by Mike Baron and now by William Messner-Loebs in the DC comic. There have been hundreds of games run by businesses, fans, and anywhere in the middle. The types of games run the gamut, from westerns to science fiction to other military things, action, adventure, whatever. What is it that's so interesting about these games? That's what we're going to pursue tonight with a record 4 guests. On my left is Frank Pompelio, a longtime gamer, and who is now designing his own game in a Western setting called Stand and Deliver. Over on the other side of Judy, we have Steve Jones, the owner of Blue Panther Enterprises, which has created a number of games, including Destiny 2. And over on the right is Mark Macagnoni, a game reviewer for a number of magazines, who's also a longtime player. And remotely by phone from his Flying Buffalo Enterprises in Arizona is Rick Loomis, the great-granddaddy of play-by-mail games himself. You there, Rick?
Yes, I'm here. Could you define like what it is you do when you play the game? Like how long would it take, and define a turn in play-by-mail for me?
They vary.
Can I take this?
Sure.
In general, what you'd have is about a 2-week time frame. What would happen is somebody would have a set of circumstances before them that would define their situation. For example, I run a baseball team, I run an army, I'm a great adventurer in a forgotten kingdom. I run a starship, whatever. And you have a choice of activities to do with your starship, your kingdom, or whatever. And for purposes of this, let's call it a starship. And you would make your decisions, and then you would write them down on a sheet telling exactly what you want to do with whom and where. Like, I would like to attack this person, I would like to move here, I would like to explore this nebula, whatever it might be. And then you send this through the mail or through the phone nowadays to a moderator, which would be a person who would take your move along with the moves of other people who are playing with you and either do them together or semi-simultaneously and he would moderate the game, and he would collect your actions, process them, and send you the results. That's basically happens on a 2-week cycle.
People get caught up in the combat and they need to get a turn in quick.
Well, they have to change because they found out.
If you don't get your turn in time, somebody else will get their turn in faster and you'll be dead.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one thing. There isn't as much personal interaction as far as the game goes. There is on a level of you guys as players interacting with each other, but in a sense you're isolated as you're doing this.
Only partially. We communicate through 3 or 5, usually 3x5 index cards, and letters back and forth, and lots of phone calls.
Lots of phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 8 or 10 of my best friends right now I've met.
How do you manage with the mail end of it? Like who's sending what in, who's sending the other thing, like accuracy of mail and timing of mail? How do you manage with stuff like that?
Well, most of our games, there's a 2-week cycle and the game is due in 2 weeks. Now, we don't run any of the turns for any of the players until the end of that 2 weeks. And then whether the move was mailed in 3 days ago or faxed in a week ago or phoned in last night, we take them all at the same time for one particular game and process them through the computer at the same time.
Oh, to make it all fair.
Right, so everybody's move is done at the same time. Usually the ones that phone it in or fax it in wait till the last minute, which is why they use that service. So it's like, oh, gee, my turn is due tomorrow. I better fax it in tonight.
When I review a game, a lot of people, they read the reviews to find out if the games are rip-offs or if the games are good. Okay, I work with 2 magazines now, all right, and what I do is I get into a game, I play for X amount of time, and then I put together a review. And then I send the DMs, or game masters, the review so we could talk back and forth and find out what's going on. If there was any mistakes made on my part of not understanding the rules or regulations. Then I take the finished product and I type it up and I put my own feelings into it, feelings of what I thought of the game itself. All right, I don't review for the game masters. I review for the players. And most of my reviews so far of all the games that I've played have been pretty good. All right.
That's interesting. That's a much closer relationship between reviewer and thing reviewed than you usually see in say book reviewing or television.
Yeah, that's because you're involved. I mean, you have to actually play the game, and you don't play it for like 1 or 2 or 3 turns and say, "Oh, this is a great game." You write it down and you send it off. No, I usually go 30, 40 turns.
Next
into a game.
week, we're going to the Creation Convention on location. You be there, we'll be there.
Convention highlights only here.
Oh yeah.
Only here.
If all men were brothers,
Would you let one marry your sister? Good night.
good night.
Okay, that's it.